Hello everyone and welcome to Pyanodons Mods. This is Otaku Showboat and today our tutorial will cover the early game up to your first ability to handcraft red science. That is going to be a mission in and of itself, just getting to red science, so I will go over the priorities that you will need to have and the setups that you will need to make to get to your very first red science so you can start picking up automation and logistics. As usual, don't forget to engage through commenting, liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell to help make sure that this tutorial series is higher up in search results. If you'd like, you can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/otakushowboat, follow me on Twitter at otakushowboat, and visit my website at otakushowboat.com. You can also help support my continued existence and help accelerate the production of these tutorials by becoming a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushowboat. You can also support Pyanodon and their mod development at patreon.com/Pyanodon. As a disclaimer, Pyanodon's mods are in a constant state of flux, so any numbers presented may change at any point in time, really. The mods for this particular save file are nearly identical to the stream save, the list of which is linked below in the stream schedule link. The only difference, well, I guess in this one there is no difference for this particular tutorial, but in other tutorials where I'm showcasing things, I will run the Infinity mod, but we're not going to do so here today. So with that said, I suppose I can at least show you the list of what mods I have enabled going into this. There we go. You can pause the video if you'd like to see. There's a little bit of redundancy in there on a couple of mods, but otherwise that is the list. So I think that I'm just going to start a new game and go over what I'm going to do to help make the early game start a little bit faster for the purposes of this tutorial. First up, richness of ore patches will go way up. Probably don't need the borax. For this particular tutorial, I'm probably going to be using this map for other similar tutorials in the future, so I'm just going to crank up the richness of basically everything to max. And this will offer a baseline for another setting that I'm going to show you about shortly. So I'm just going to bring all of these sliders up. The size of the resource patches, I'm going to make the size of the iron and copper 200%. Stone doesn't necessarily matter as much. I'll go to 150 there. I'll go to 200 on coal just because it's important in the early game. Otherwise, where is quartz? Where is quartz? Quartz ore, I want to make sure that's up at 200 as well as tin. These are very important to have in relatively large quantities in the very early game, even though there will come a point in your play where quartz ore will become somewhat irrelevant. In fact, most every ore will eventually become somewhat irrelevant, for the exception of the rare earth bolides. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, what is it that affects the number? Is it... Well, I'm going to actually increase the frequency a bit as well as the size, see if that actually matters, but I definitely recommend rare earth bolides being really high, even if you intend on setting up eventually your infinite supplies of the various different ore types through other means, because that is totally possible. You can make everything out of nothing, for the exception of rare earth bolides. But to get to that point, you're going to need some stuff here. As for the terrain, I hate cliffs. I also, excuse me, I also increase the size of water and decrease its coverage because I don't like the default water generation. I always increase scale and decrease coverage to give you fewer, larger lakes, rather than a whole bunch of swampland is what it always seems to look like on my maps. If you leave it at default settings, from what I've noticed, it just makes the map look like Swiss cheese. Just water everywhere. Complete and utter water world. And I don't like that very much. As for trees, under normal circumstances with trees, I would do the exact same thing by increasing size and decreasing coverage, but I won't do that to the degree that I have done with water. And the reason for this is I and you will need a lot of trees. We'll need a lot of trees. I'm going to leave the other climates somewhat similar, but I am going to increase that to 400 and decrease the coverage just a little bit so that we get a little bit more contiguous settings. These are from Alien Biomes, these sliders, so if I hit preview, by the way, I have set my preview map to be smaller because the map preview is one of the very few things besides the initial loading of the game that uses your entire CPU. It's hyper-threaded and all of that. It will use up 100% of your CPU while trying to render your preview, and that can cause hitches of your machine. So I have decreased the size of the preview, to not have as much of the map spoiled on the preview, but also because it's better on performance overall. However, the game doesn't really like that very much, so it looks a little weird. It's not really designed to be this small. And with Resource Spawner Overhaul, you don't actually have the ability to see the resources on the map in the preview. That's just a side effect of using Resource Spawner Overhaul. It doesn't let you do that in 0.17 at the very least, which is the version of the game I'm using for this tutorial, the experimental 0.17. So there are trees up here on this map. I'm going to change the seed a little bit. There are no trees here. That is bad. I'm seeing still very few trees. So let's roll until I see visible green. So there's trees right in here. A good patch of trees, but I don't like the sand that we're in on that map. No trees there. Something with trees. So I'm seeing some trees in here. Not a huge cluster. Maybe let's go standard coverage and yeah, there's some more trees. Still no big groupings of trees on this map within visible range, so gonna keep going. Alright, so this map has a lot of pockets of trees all over. It should be enough. It's decent enough terrain. I'm specifically looking for not hot or cold / not desert, not snow, and not volcanic, because all of that will give you slowdown of your character. Your character will be slowed down by it. You could also bias towards more moisture, but with alien biomes, when you do that, you also have more shallow water that you can walk over, again with a major slowdown, but it does at least allow you to place offshore pumps on those tiles, on the borders of those tiles. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword with that, because you can't build on it because it's also water, but you can put pumps on it and it slows you down. So you get good and bad with that. I think I'm going to go with this one, so let's see what the actual ore generation is. This is free play, yes it is, and as per usual, let's set the color. This particular color that I set myself to is Cobalt. It is 071 171. And let's have a look. Bear in mind, I am using the realistic ores. Oh, right. See, if you do make a mistake like this, you can go out and it keeps all of your settings just fine. I will also remove all enemies and pollution and keep the research queue off. Let's try that again, shall we? The map seed is the same, it's just no biters. Do the color again, and yeah, so we've got trees. Plenty of trees around us, that's good. In RSO, I should make note of this as well, because I didn't actually go into the mod settings. In Resource Spawner Overhaul, I have set the richness multipliers to 100, and this will multiply the 600% that was set to, and this is the highest possible value of richness that you can get with Resource Spawner Overhaul through these settings. That is the highest that you can get. And this is just my own personal preference. I prefer really, really rich ore patches that will last basically forever. Because I'm lazy and I don't like moving around my mining setups. Otherwise, I think most everything should be default. Outside of reveal spawned resources. This setting here will reveal on the map an entire ore patch when it gets spawned in, even if it's in the fog, the black fog of the map. So it will show it to you, and it will show that it's there as soon as it spawns, basically. As soon as you get close enough that it spawns in the resource on the map, it will show it to you. So that is that relevant thing. Also, I want to make note that under per player, I have the clock mod installed. I set it to be 12-hour clock with grain 7 segment. And I set even distribution to distribute coal, leaving you with 5 units. You could set this to 0, it doesn't really matter, but by default it wants to like hold on to an entire stack of coal, which I think it wants you to keep like 500 on you at all times before it starts wanting to distribute coal. This can be a problem in the early game, especially because you don't want to use your wood as fuel. So fair. Right, and it's an improper value. So what I actually have to do is not do that. One would think that you could just ignore wood, but this entities is actually not a like, it's not like an ignore this putting this item in your inventory into other things. This is an ignore the building, ignore throwing things into a building. That's what this setting actually is. So if I set wood to 500 or 5,000, it won't use my wood unless I have 5,000 in my inventory, which is exactly what I want. Now, how is the stone spawn on this map? That is the first thing to look at. We've got Let's see, 110 units of coal in rocks, coal-bearing rocks. The coal-bearing rocks are marked as huge in their official names, in their like the actual entity names. The amount that you get is technically random, expected averages of 30 and 10 for the stone to coal, but it will vary. Now, for the most part, this will look like a vanilla playthrough just with a whole bunch of extra ore all over the place. Let's see, you do not have any. You've got some. Got 57 on me. You've got coal. Let's see, you've got coal. Alright, I should have enough coal at the moment. So when you start off, you're going to want to go to your iron and start mining that, although this particular iron spawn, oh my, that is a little small. So as I had also said, I am using resource spawner overhaul. I think I might actually re-roll this map because that iron is way too small and there's no generated iron patch nearby. There's nickel, there's raw coal, there's raw borax, but there's no iron. And did I not set iron to be bigger as well? Anyway, let's just restart and have a look, see how many trees are around. Set the color. We've got coal, we've got a nice big iron, a nice big copper, good-sized coal. This is a much better resource spawn. Oh, and I see there are trees, but is there a forest? Oh, and there's a good molybdenum patch. I think I like this a little bit better. Unfortunately, these are all like mostly dead trees, so I will probably have to go exploring a little bit on this map for my initial wood, which we'll just have to deal with. So starting off, chopping trees, looking for initial large rocks with coal in them. Looks like I am not as fortunate to have huge rocks with coal, at least to the south. Yeah, not so fortunate down there. But that'll be an interesting challenge. What about up? There's a couple up here. And yeah, I am using realistic ores, so the iron is orange and the copper is blue. Just to reiterate, the iron is the color of oxidized iron, aka rust, which is orange. Anything else? Think you guys? No? You have some. This is a necessary initial step. Oh, there's some wood. I am glad that I went up there to see that that wood exists. Bear in mind that this initial phase of the game will take quite some time to get through, especially if it's your first time through it. I anticipate that it will be about half of an hour before setting up electricity, and then another half an hour minimum to start getting our stuff automated and all of that good stuff. So at the very beginning, you have your boner miner and your stone furnace. As you collect stone from the coal, start to, and don't forget to turn on the alt mode as well. That will slowly accrue. I will mention here that a single stone furnace will be able to support 3 mining drills feeding into it. If you add a 4th, it's a very small difference. By adding the 4th, it's like incredibly overkill. it's like a 0.05 per second bonus that you get by adding a fourth. So it's really not worth adding a fourth. Oh, there's a good. Oh, that I like this map. Oh, I like this map already. I am liking that nice big source of coal, 2 big sources of coal, plus a hugely dense iron, some niobium, some molybdenum. Yeah, this is a really nice map. What is the... Alright, so this will be this save. If I go to load and I go to the map exchange string, this is the map exchange string. I will see about trying to get that, if I remember, put into like a paste bin or something for folks if they are interested in playing on this particular map. Just don't forget you will need all of the mods and RSO settings set. So I'm just getting more coal because I need more at the moment. Our priority will, of course, being setting up some mining drills, getting coal, as well as finishing off our little set of 3 to mine iron. But we won't be able to make them immediately because at the beginning of the game, the burner mining drills will require this thing called small parts, and small parts will require a little bit of copper. So I will have to move my mining drill over to copper once it has accrued enough iron to build 1 or 2 additional mining drills. And unless I want to keep doing that over and over and over again, my initial 2 mining drills will be going towards getting a permanent setup on copper as well as a second one to use for iron. So essentially the first 2 are just going back to the iron to set up on iron while leaving the one that is on copper. It is the next 2 that I make that will go into coal. In the meantime, though, you need to accrue something like 1,000 units of wood by hand. My suggestion, by the way, it's at least 300 and something for the science that you're going to need before you can attempt to start automating red science, but you also need wood for circuits as well as for the buildings to automate wood. So planning ahead is very important in the very early game, and chopping trees is what gives you something to do while waiting around for stuff to happen in the very early game. Which is why I highly suggest not turning trees down too awfully much, always making sure that you at least have non-zero amounts of trees nearby. And I will be cutting to various points that I make along the way. This is going to be an edited video, so yeah, it's going to be edited, which means that you will not experience full time. I will keep the clock GUI up so you can see the time played as we go along, just to get a general idea of things. Alright, so that is 16 iron plates. That should... I'll let it do one more. I'll let it do one more iron plate before picking things up, so that I have enough iron plates that I know I can make 2 mining drills. So now that that's done, I just have to go next door to copper, place down my stone furnace on the copper, take my mining drill, and throw in, or just Shift C. What? Apparently I did something wrong. Mod settings per player. Oh, it did not. Didn't I just say wood 5,000? Apparently it does not let you do 5,000 units. Wood 500! 500! Save for me, please. Nope, it didn't do it. Alright, can I do that? No? Alright, well, something's going on. That's weird. With this, so I will have to, just keep on going, as if that's not a problem, and just maybe make a chest, sadly using a little bit of my iron, because I don't want to use my wood to, store the wood. That's really unfortunate, because that will delay ever so slightly stuff and things. I'm going to go out and I'm going to mine / destroy even more trees in the meantime. Probably go map hunting as well. Now, all of this terrain here is desert, which also slows me down, so I have to bear in mind that building out in this direction is probably not such a good idea, because all of this terrain, all 3 of this, counts as desert going into the Niobium patch here. So if all of this is desert in here, that means I'm probably going to want to prefer building to the north when I set up my base. Okay, so now... now I have the copper that I need, but I apparently don't have the iron plates, so back we go. Building this one chest was enough to throw things off a bit. So, back to iron to get enough iron to build our first burner mining drill. In the meantime, more chopping. Okay, now I have enough iron to build my first mining drill here, my first extra mining drill. I think that this mining drill is going to go straight onto my iron patch to have 2 here, and I'm going to steal away a little bit of the coal. And this will, of course, now double the amount of iron plates over time versus previously, and I do have enough copper where I can build an additional burner mining drill. Now, it does say 8.2 on the iron. I believe that comes from 10 needed for crafting a small part. Or, no, it's, let's see. 2 bolts from 2 iron sticks, which is 1 unit of iron. So 1 iron plate for 2 bolts. 2 bolts into 2 small parts, so that's the 1 iron plate. Half of a plate for a stick, and 1 plate for a gear wheel, so 3.5 iron plates for 2 small parts, and you need 3 small parts plus 3 iron plates. So yeah, it's not even. It's not even. You need an initial 10, and you end up, I think, with an extra small part. Yeah. You end up with an extra small part in the process. Alright, so there's the next burner miner drill. This burner miner drill is going onto my copper. because I will now start needing additional copper to keep building my mining drills, and I should have enough coal in my drills to at least last until I can build enough. We'll also toss that copper in there to have enough to build another 2 mining drills so I can start automating my coal production, which is the next step. And I will just return to my tree chopping in the meantime. Alright, next burner miner drill coming out. For the meantime, it will be placed directly onto my iron to help speed up the iron, and this is now saturated. When I make one more, I will steal it to go into coal. Looks like I've started to run out of fuel. In the copper, I'm just going to right-click to throw individual units in until I get enough. 5 units of copper in there is not bad. And I can make 2 burner miner drills immediately, so I don't have to move anything. I just have to take these burner drills and place them right on my copper, feeding into each other, and throw in like 1 unit of coal into each of them to get them moving, and they will start accruing coal for me. So now it's going to be all about scale. So this is all that you really need at the very, very, very beginning. Now it's time to scale this up a bit because we need to get a lot more plates a lot faster. For now, the goal will probably be duplicating this and finishing that. So the next 5 burners will go into that, as well as expanding that coal. That is the plan, and things are going to start getting faster and faster as we keep placing more and more stuff. Though not so fast that I don't feel comfortable going out to get more stuff in the form of wood and such. Perhaps I should note that in the very early game, you will need a lot more iron than you will copper, just by very nature of it. And in general, through into the mid-game, you're going to need a lot more iron than you do copper. There will come points where you will need a lot more copper for specific things, but for now, the focus should be iron, significantly more iron than copper. My goal before moving into electricity will be to have about 10 of those stone furnaces surrounded by 3 burner drills on iron, and probably 3 to 5 on copper before really considering a major transition, as well as about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 drills on the coal. This next one, of course, is going to continue the trend of more iron. Grab the buildup of the coal there. Re-grab the buildup of the coal there. Shift C here. Oops, pulled out everything from that. More storage of wood. Another immediately. Grab more coal. Feed that. See, now things are beginning to dramatically pick up. I'm actually thinking that, so the next 2 are going to go into coal, and then the following 2 go over here. And then this shall double. Also, with the actual craft time mod, as you can see, with 1 stone furnace, it's 0.8 in to 0.1 out. To get 0.8 in, you can see it's 3 to 0.75, but 4 is 1. It's literally a difference of 0.05 per second from 3 to 4, so I don't see the point of adding a 4th. I would always just stick with 3, go with the fraction of a second that it won't be operating, and be just fine. And there's 2, so this goes up here now. More coal is always better. And you can see, even with just the 1 making copper plates, we're still not bottlenecked on our copper. We're bottlenecked on our iron. You can see it's like 8.2 to 1.5, so you can think of it like that. Adding this next set of 3 will begin to shift the bottleneck over to copper. Begin to, not fully. Or it might be fully. I don't know. So this is going to keep on scaling, and I think that I will come back when it's time to begin thinking of our next transition. Alright, so now that I've set up the 4 here, I've gone ahead and I've blueprinted another 8 on iron, and it is now time to begin adding a bit more production of copper. Because copper will be the next bottleneck on the production of the mining drills. And these next 2 actually are going to go to even more coal production. So things are starting to pick up quite a bit now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drills. Or 6 stone furnaces fully set up on the iron. I've still got just the 1 fully set up on the copper. I will attempt to finish off all of these, as well as continue to expand what I am using for coal. Because I do need, I do want at least to double this little block doing coal before fully moving on. Okay, so I've built this whole setup here. I've got 12 stone furnaces on iron. We've got 16 on the coal, and I've got 2 here for copper. It's a little weak on copper, so this I will double, and I can just casually start making a bunch more burner drills now. I do have to bear in mind that the just sheer amounts of coal that I need are going to start becoming problematic. I will constantly need to be feeding in all of the coal for these. And 6. And I need more coal. Of course. Of course, of course. So now I need to be thinking, it is time to transition into electricity. We now have enough oomph in terms of plates per second on iron. 1.2 whole plates per second on iron. To begin thinking about what is to come. What is to come? What is to come is both, well, A, steam power, as well as steam engines, and mining drills. Those are next, along with burner inserters and transport belts. So now we're going to get into the fun part of the game, part of vanilla even, where you're going to be handcrafting a little bit for a little while. Various things. And there's not too much else you can do outside of potentially continuing to scale how much coal you are producing. And that is just about it. We're now starting the work to transition over. I do, however, I will note that getting additional copper is going to be absolutely necessary now. This is going to look a little bit more organized, I think, overall. Whoops. More coal. More coal! Always more coal. Always need more coal. Always in need of more coal. You can see how this can start getting a little bit out of hand pretty easily in just terms of amounts of things that you will be needing to concern yourself with. But don't think you can do science yet. Science is not going to happen for a little while. In fact, science will take some time before you can handcraft your first science. No, we are going to be concerned with getting, first off, electric-based mining of iron and copper, followed then by tin, and then into glass, quartz, and all of that other good stuff. And it is at this point where I think I'm going to increase the game speed so that we can get through this just a little bit faster. And to do that, it is this right here. Set game speed to 2. And that will increase, of course, the game speed by 2. So setting up your first boiler, power station, I will go ahead and stick this here, stick my boiler setup right out here. I don't tend to do things that way. I tend to do it in sets of 2, like so, and get the steam engines out. Grab some power poles. I think I placed them there, and there, and there, and there, and get some pipes going. Pipes. I would like underground here. I don't know if that can reach fully. No, that's fine. there's the water, and that just leaves then also considering that I need belt to feed in, as well as some burner mining drills. Get some of this rock out of the way, go down, grab yet more coal, Shift C, grab all of this beautiful accruing iron, start getting a bunch of belt. Need even more coal. I will build one more mining drill for now. And right here, I will do plonk plonk, plonk, plonk. This will go this way. I need to consider how long my line of stuff is going to be. Let's see here. You? And you. And we are officially automating power. Technically. We are technically automating power. So, this transition next involves lots and lots of mining drills. That is the next point of order. Lots and lots of mining drills. As you might expect, getting... Let's see, how many are here? 36. 36. 9 per second on ore. Technically being mined right now. We're going to want at least that much going forward into something a little bit more automated. You can see that coal stack size is 500 at this point. And this is, of course, definitely feeding in more than enough to do all of the beautiful things that need to get done. So let's see, so it's 30 mining drills for 15 per second of ore. So we're going to keep on building all of the mining drills. We're looking to get at least 90 mining drills at this phase of the game, if you're interested in getting yellow belts of ore set up right now. You might not, though. But just bear in mind that as this gets set up, I want to set it up so that I have the ability to set full lines. So this is the widest section of this ore patch, so this is where I will do this. I will do just something really simple, just 4 for now, up there. But this also needs to be accompanied by individual setups of coal. I also need, of course, all of the transport belts on the planet. And I need to go up, grab more coal. Do that Shift C down here. Go over here, grab even more copper. set up 2 more mining drills, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna do that, and that. More mining drills. The pace is starting to pick up after the first hour. We do officially have electricity. So what am I doing with all of this? Well, I need to determine where I'm going to set up my initial smelting of iron, and I think it's going to be over here. Remember what I said about wanting to do building stuff up here? Just because of all the stuff in the way, it's probably going to end up going out this way and then up. So over here and then up as my bus. So that is what I will do when setting this up. Now, initially, we'll only really be able to do up to 7.5 per second, and that's... I'm going to start with a line of 12 here. Fed like so. Do I want to use these inserters? I could on the outputs use these. I will need 12 of these. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to have coal in and ore in. We do not currently have access to splitters, making this somewhat complex. If I really wanted to, I could take some drills and... or not some drills, some inserters and pull off some into chests. That might actually be a somewhat good idea, but I'm not going to for now. Let's not forget that I will need the power poles for this. Yet more things that will need wood. I will actually need to go and grab my wood. Chances are I will need to... Did I just pull coal out? No. Good. Make a few power poles. Do burner inserters on these. And then do standard inserters on the output here. So we've got 12. 12 will be 9.6 per second, so that's more than the single lane. Yeah, you're probably going to set up a line of 20, so 10. 10 per lane is good. That can output, get your power sorted here. And you can basically just go directly into chests at the end. So, hello, needing stuff. Needing stuff here. Oh, it took my wood. I think it's leaving me with 500, though. I think it's leaving me with 500. Oh, that's not good. It took my wood. That's very sad. That's what you don't want, for reference. But But I need my wood to make more mining drills. Well, anyway, I think I'm going to start breaking this down. I no longer need all of these on iron. And don't be afraid to do this. Yes, I'm technically making less iron currently than what I was, but this does not depend on me feeding it. And this little setup right here is pretty much what you're going to do until you get your first red science. And you're going to do this a few times, because we have not been doing any stone mining yet. We will need to do that. We will need to do copper mining and smelting. We need to make glorious things. Yeah, you can fill with coal. Thanks. I'm pretty sure that I won't actually need these anymore either, so let's grab all the coal that exists within these. Also bear in mind, no undergrounds exist, so for now, my smelting lines will be a little bit scattered. That should be 10. I'm just gonna copy that, do it here on that line. Whoops. Actually, I'm going to run the belt up. And just for my convenience, this is going to be done there. Of course, more belt. More belt, more inserters, more inserters. More inserters, more belt, more inserters. Give these power. Alright, so there's copper set up. Copper and iron are officially dunzos. Which means I will now break all of this. Yes, I could use this as supplemental, but I don't feel like going through that effort. So we are no longer in the burner phase. Congratulations! The burner phase is officially over, and we are now fully in the electricity phase, the pre-science electricity phase, and that is how you get through it. What is next? Next comes tin. Tin and stone. Why do I say tin and stone? Because we're going to need some stone bricks down the line. So how many mining drills do I have? I need more mining drills, so I will make more mining drills. I will grab the copper that's coming out of there. I have a whole bunch of coal sitting around now, which is just fine. Reasonable. Very reasonable. So the coal is all the way up here. I will need a few more of these. I will do just the 2 here, and smelt. I don't know the exact ratio off the top of my head, so bear with me on that. Oop. More belt. That's going to be a perpetual theme of this, is always need more belt. that'll start feeding up into that. Grab these guys. Output into there. Get the power. There's that power. Get that connected, and there's that. So that'll be our little bit of stone. Just a little bit of stone. Up to 2.5. Yeah, that's a little bit more than I need. Grab you. Grab you. You. And then how many of these? Alright, good. So, tin. Tin is slightly different. In that you need steam to mine it. Otherwise, it is exactly the same speed as everything else thus far. So tin, won't need a lot of it, but I think I will set up 6 tin. So that's 25 steam. Just one little old boiler will be enough for this. The question becomes, or the issue becomes, you are going to need pipe, and lots of it at this point in the game, because my stone water well mod, well, I guess I could just make a deep water well. That sounds better to me. That sounds just fine by me. Let's make a stone water well. Note that this is not part of the pie suite. Otherwise, I would have just done an offshore pump down here and routed the pipes. This is just to save me time more than anything else. Just one boiler. I'll actually put the boiler here with one of those. A boiler makes up to 60 steam per second. So you can use that in your calculations. For your calculations. And where's that? Where's that stone water well? Come on. Hurry it up. Hurry it up, stone water well. There you go. You exist. This is an offshore pump in disguise. Pretty much. And then just add power. Just add power. And there is your tin. Bear in mind, yet again, we do not have access yet to underground stuff, so I will probably want to do underground pipe here, so I can bring this tin a bit over this way. I will also probably grab this, bring it not over this way, bring it down, right. This is a slight problem, so what I'm going to do, actually, is that. And then bring you over. Just playing with stuff for now. That will start feeding in. Grab this. Standard line. More belt. More belt, more inserters. Am I running low on wood? I am. Because of course I am. grab the rest of the wood. I'm going to need to go out specifically to get wood at some point soon. Go ahead and grab my copper stores. You'll see that I still have that one. That one is going to be used for quartz. Yeah, I'm going to need a few of these, thanks. Just a few. Excuse me? Why do you break? Like, seriously? Why do you break the, ghosts? Anyway. So, say hello to tin plates. Tin plates is the next thing to have to deal with. And I no longer have to necessarily worry about needing more mining drills, because the next thing we're going to build is not going to use mining drills. We are going to need a destructive distillation column, we're going to need a tailings pond, a wood processing unit, a falgi plantation, a couple of soil extractors, as well as crystal mines. So now we're starting... Now we have officially begun starting to think about the amount of things and the things that we need for the red science automation. So welcome to the beginning of red science automation. It's nice to finally have arrived at the beginning of the red science automation. I do, however, think that it would behoove me to place more mining drills down on copper to at least saturate that, or at least attempt to saturate that. Okay, I need to go up to grab my current supply of stone bricks, because I will need them, A, to get a tailings pond, B, to get a gas vent, C, to get a soil extractor. Do I get the wood processing unit immediately? Probably not. It won't be needed immediately. I will need to focus on the crystal mine that I will need next. I may as well, while I am here, though, start to focus on where in the heck I'm going to build this out. Probably right here. Yeah, that should be fine. This will be the line in. Crystal mines use a lot of copper, so do bear that in mind. Oh, and I guess I built a soil extractor, but you need a soil extractor for the crystal mine anyway. So let's build another soil extractor. Let's get this DDC down. Over here-ish, I guess. Maybe not that far away. So the destructive distillation column is going to be set to make some wonderful things. It will need the tailings pond there, a gas vent there, an inserter there, and I guess 2 out is going to be reasonable. It is going to need a few in and a few out. And what we're looking for here is coke. We want to get some coke production going out of it. What I'm going to do is take this, route it to here, and reroute this up to there. And take the crystal mine and start outputting there. As for the power, there we go. Get the inserters. I'm actually going to stick inserters on my hotbar. Oop. We had a burner run out of juice. It's not actually grabbing there. And that will be glass. Okay, congratulations. That is the first science. Well, the first glass for science. We're not quite there yet because the next thing that we need is Factorio plantations. And Factorio plantations are going to need some soil. Now, again, soil will need water. I am going to place this right here and pipe through the water from this boiler. And this is going to make soil, and I can just make some inserters here and output into chests the soil. It makes a lot of soil. This is a very efficient machine. It makes a lot of soil perpetually. So you will always have the ability to have enough soil, and I would suggest always to make it locally. So Factorio plantation is the last thing here to worry about, where you can start automating your red science. Not automating, but handcrafting your first red science. Once this gets set up, I think we'll be closing in on the end of the video here. Closing in on the end. Where do I want to put this? I'll probably put it up here for now. Take an underground pipe and set this recipe. Set the pipe on the wrong spot, because of course I did. There's the water, there's the power, and offload into some chests. So congratulations, that is everything that we need to get our very first red science. Which means all we need to do is head on over, grab some copper, make a lab or two, and then start grabbing things, and we can start handcrafting our first automation science, because we will have our Factorio mushrooms, glass, coke, and, well, a bit of hand-obtained wool in order to proceed here. Bear in mind that tailings pond here, you will want to eventually pick it up and throw it down again. You can take the iron oxide that you'll get out of this to make a bit more iron. I am going to go ahead and grab all that. And we've got a decent looking little initial base here. It's a lot of belt, but we will manage. So here is the first of the automation science packs. I do think that it will behoove me and you to keep getting crystal mines. Of course, I am limited on this. I need one more to pick up the first tech. Which unfortunately just the one crystal mine is not necessarily going to cut it. Still lacking. There we go. 4 more units of glass required. Should have it once these finish ticking. And then have to head down and grab some more mushrooms. Get the thingies placed. The bottleneck will be glass, so having these close to glass will help. And of course, the first tech one would usually think about getting is automation, followed by immediately by logistics. Logistics will help immensely by giving you access to splitters and undergrounds, and it will help you simplify all of this mess, and you can scale from here to something a little bit more traditional looking. I'm just gonna handcraft this last little science thing here, and off we go. We are off to the races. Place that down. We have now doubled our quartz and therefore doubled our glass production, and we are good to go. We are good to go. That is the end of the pre-science phase of the game. And you know, initially I wanted this particular video to go all the way up to the automation of red science, but I think that we are going to end it off here, and I will have all of that included in my red science automation tutorial. I will have a red science tutorial, and it will cover the initial automation, and I think what I'll do for that tutorial is I will continue this map and show you what comes next after you've begun to handcraft red science. What do you need to do next on your path, on your hunt towards automating your red science? Now, between this video and that video, I am likely to scale a little bit here. Off screen, I am likely going to change the setups. I will probably get logistics and start to transition everything else that's unrelated. Just get more iron, more copper, more tin, more glass going. But ultimately, that will end up being feedback. So please let me know, should I scale some of the stuff that already exists on this map in between this video and then the red science video that's going to expand on this and cover the process of automating, because it can be considered the process of automating a red science, doing this scaling procedure, and I like that it will show you what the priorities are between here and there. So let me know in the comments, do you want to actually see in the red science specific video me taking some time, or at least explaining the changes that I will do from this setup into the more vanilla-ish looking stone furnace setups, because that's what we're going to end up looking like, is more traditional vanilla style stone furnace setups that I'm sure you've seen a million times already. But even that is temporary. I will also note, because as soon as you start automating your red science, yeah, then you get to start thinking about going into um your automated your advanced foundries uh and hot air processing setups. So things will have to change again. The smelting lines will have to change now, and they'll have to change again once red science is able to be fully automated. Um, it can be partially automated now, but it can only be fully automated once we pick up coal processing 1. Coal processing 1 is what will unlock the ability to automate wood, which is going to be necessary to fully automate your red science. So getting to there and handcrafting the necessary red science, gathering the necessary amount of wood for the various buildings that I'll need, as well as the actual science that I'll need, all of that will fall under the purview of the red science tutorial. That will be forthcoming. It will not, however, be our next tutorial, because our next tutorial will be a general mod overview of the Pyanodon mod suite, as well as the suggested mods, my own personal suggestions of outside mods to use to help you on the path of learning and getting used to playing with the Pyanodons mod suite. With that, I would like to thank you all for watching. Please be sure that if you have enjoyed this video to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that this series can rank higher in searches. Tutorials for Pyanodons are in incredibly short supply, which is why it would be nice to get this particular series ranking higher for people doing searches for Pyanodons. And don't forget that you could also head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat to leave a follow, so that you can watch when I go live on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter at Otaku Showboat, and you can visit my website at otakushowboat.com to read my weekly updates as well as the text tutorials that accompany these video tutorials. You can also support my continued existence as well as help towards potentially producing more tutorials faster by heading over and becoming a patron on patreon.com/otakushowboat. You can also follow me, or follow Pyanodon and help Pyanodon by becoming a patron for him on patreon.com/Pyanodon. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.